Good morning, everybody. It's me, Pamela, and I am coming to you live. Ooh, bad hair day. Probably need that hat of mine again. I'm so sorry. However, today I am so excited. We have it's an old friend of mine that I've known since he was like teeny tiny little thing. But now he's all grown up because we're both all grown up. Or he's probably more grown up than I am because I don't like to act grown up. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to log on my friend that I've grown up and he's doing amazing stuff in BC. His name's Dean Donnelly. So hold on one second while I get him. He's like pretty impressive, this guy.
Hey, Pam, look, can you hear me?
Look. I can. Can you hear me?
I'm doing good.
Good. So
we are on the road, and I'm going to keep facing forward. And then when I finally come to a stop, I'll be able to look at you.
Oh, you're driving? Yeah, don't look at me yet. Let me brag about you so you can just listen to me. So don't look. Okay. So listen, this is Dean Donnelly. He's originally from Saskatoon, where I'm originally from, as we all know. And so we kind of grew up together. Like we were like, yeah, okay. And then he moved to BC and I moved to Toronto. He's a Westerner by heart and I became an Easterner. But somehow we still like, we won't go with that. But really, most importantly, what we both do is we both give back. And he gives back with his company through Telus. And everybody said to me, well, how did you get him? And I said, well, have you not been following what Telus has been doing out in BC? Like they started the movement of taking care of seniors before the rest of the country did. Like they went ahead of everybody. Like all the other countries are, all the other provinces in Canada and the States and the US are just now getting on the bandwagon.
Slow. Yeah.
They started Dean's company through Telus, his team. Really, they were the first ones to give seniors tablets. Right before even the lockdown completely happened, they started to give all the seniors' homes, the residences, tablets so that they can communicate with their family members because they saw it coming. So
we did it right away. We actually we got about 10,000 tablets to all across the country into different seniors' homes. As soon as the COVID lockdown came, we realized, what are people going to do? And you could see what was happening, and there wasn't enough of these sort of devices. And so we just quickly filled the need. You got that 4 weeks ago.
And, they got that before everybody, and that's Telus. I mean, we all think of, when you all think of your phone providers, you think of your Rogers and your Shaws and your Bells.
Your Bell.
But the reality is, I haven't heard about them, and maybe they're doing some good, but what I have seen is the good that Telus is doing. So to me, that's huge. That's called stepping up way above and beyond. So
we have a big program. We call it You Give Where You Live. And like something Pam and I grew up, we learned that from the rabbi years and years ago, but it's become one of the critical mission statements at the company I work with. And each year, on average, we dedicate as employees over 1 million hours to the community. So it's called the Give Where You Live program. Yeah.
That's pretty huge. I understand with the Give Where They Live program, they don't even, they still employ you. So Telus wants their people to volunteer, but they don't want them to miss a paycheck as well. So even when you're volunteering, you get paid. Is that correct, Dean?
Yes. A lot of times, a lot of us do it outside of our work area, work time. But in the event that we've got a team event, like at a food bank or something like that, then you'll actually be getting paid work hours to do that volunteering, which is really great. The company's kind of matching your effort.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. And I think in today's day, showing kindness within companies is so important. I see that Heather, we know who Heather Fenyas is. That's my sister. She joined. She's following us. Hey, Heather. Dean, don't take your hand off the steering wheel. That's the mother.
Attention.
There you go. Pay attention to the road. So one of the things that Dean's going to show us is they're deemed an essential worker. Obviously, hello, how do we communicate? how does the world communicate? It's via cell phones, it's by internet, it's by, my goodness, what would we do if we didn't have people like Telus to provide people with communication skills? And so I understand we're in a treat. He's going to be doing something and show us what it's like for these guys to work. People forget essential workers aren't just nurses, doctors, custodians, grocery stores. They are the guys that keep our cell phone and the world of data very cohesive. We should be thanking them, and we forget that, you know, and I'm the first to say I forget that until now I'm speaking to you and going, gee, you're right. I have not thanked my service provider.
It's like you gotta give your mailman a high five at Christmas, and right now the telecommunication workers have never, for most part, a lot of them have never worked this hard. It's been 3-4 weeks of solid overtime just because the network traffic went up about 60%. So at the beginning, a lot of people were experiencing a lot of drop calls and a lot of kind of your Zoom was burping. And then we had to dial in a whole bunch of new infrastructure quickly to try to make sure that we could prevent that. The curve, so to speak, was hitting Canada at the same time. So the amount of people being online with Zoom and whatnot was just crazy. So our goal is to make sure that people stay connected. And in the case of, as you know, in the case of these horrible critical situations where people are in life support on the ICU and the family is not able to join, nothing could be more important than trying to make sure that there's some connectivity so that some of the last things that people get to say to each other are done through the technology that's made available these days, and allows people to stay apart but together.
Yeah, and you're doing that. I mean, you must feel some sense of, you know, gratification as much as you putting yourself out there.
You do.
I mean, you, not just you, but your team must feel that. Like, you must have to have
yes
power. Tell me you have powwows or whatever you want to call it, like motive, like you sometimes have to decompress. Like, I would think that you're sitting and talking to your team and saying, are you okay? Because what you're doing is making a difference. Like,
yes. Now listen, I'm just coming up onto the site.
Oh.
And I'm gonna watch this. This is live right here. Let's just walk by. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
I heard you busted your line today. What's going on?
Hey.
I heard you broke your line. I'm here to fix it.
Yeah, the landscapers accidentally hit it again with their bobcat. Pushed the box 2 down.
All right. I'll park it and we'll get this done.
Pleasure to meet you.
Okay. Did you catch that?
I did. And see, whatever they're doing is also essential. And see, they depend upon Dean and his team.
We just had our call, you and I, just to test it out a half an hour ago. And the next, remember that call was coming in?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I better not answer. Well, it was him. And I am just going to try to go in a position where you guys can see 2 things at once. I'll move when I need to.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries, buddy. All right, guys, I'm just going to hold the phone in this position so you can see behind me is a live construction site. And what I have here is, let's see if I can do it from another angle here. I'm going to close my window because we've got a live truck that's just getting ready to do some more work here. So without the sun getting in your eyes, there we go. Let's try that. Let's see what we can do here. Right. So in the picture here, there's 2 buildings side by side. One is, they're both care homes.
Oh.
One is a provincially kind of funded care home, where we've been doing like more overtime than you can imagine to try to get it ready so that the province can take any seniors that are in trouble in a care home that's been COVID annihilated. They're going to use this as a safe place for all those that are unaffected.
Wow.
And we weren't sure it was going to go either way, but it's basically a brand new 150 bed hospital that wasn't really going to be ready until June, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off, and we had armies of drywallers, armies of painters, and armies of telecommunication people just trying to get it all ready.
That's so beautiful.
Now Now, I'm just going to pull ahead a little bit in the dirt here so you guys can see what's really happening right behind me here. These guys here are basically, there's a giant big tub full of water, but that is a communication service vault that's about to go in the ground just beyond in the distance. These guys are about to start installing it with the underground guys today. So right now they're using a crane to lift it, get all the water out of it, because it's been sitting here getting rained on for a month. And then right beside it over here, you'll see a couple of manholes. So these are the things that are all under the ground in the Metro Toronto area, in the Metro Vancouver area, and all of our fiber and our copper run through these sort of underground, I want to say an underground network.
Okay, I understand.
So these guys are just getting this one ready to go. And today's story is sort of a mixture of two different, the story of one care home and the story of the one that's still underway. But the man that we spoke to just a second ago called because we'll walk over there and take a look at it, but because the new hospital is occupying today and tomorrow as the first patients are coming in, the landscapers have been in a rush to try to get everything finished. And in the process, they've been digging up a line, and I had to use a temporary line to get the second care home that's not going to really be ready till July. I had to run a line through the dirt because there's no pipes in the ground yet, because they haven't got to that point. As you can see, the stuff is right beside me. So they broke that line, but that's a critical line that's allowing the second and the third care home to get their security cameras and their elevators working. So in order for them to continue working on the building, we have to keep this line going. Aside from that, there's the first care home, which our critical sort of situation was to try to get their complete infrastructure ready to go, so that by the end of this week, we'll probably have 100 residents in this care home that are all coming out of the different care homes that are at risk. So I thought it would be fun to come here anyways, but it turns out it's an emergency because the boys took call it the big scooper, the backhoe, and they basically ripped the secret Dean Donnelly line under the dirt, because we had no other way to get them operational until this other infrastructure is legit. Yeah.
Cool.
But like you were saying, Pam, our team, my team definitely is super jazzed about our opportunity to play a role in helping to keep the network up and running. And also, for me, as you know me from Saskatoon, Pam and I spent many years together, and I was raised by my grandparents.
Yeah.
And so for me, a couple of things are really close to my heart. One is, my family and my children, and the other is seniors, albeit that all the seniors in my life have all but passed away. I definitely have made it one of my passions at work to focus on seniors. So in my capacity at Telus, one of the volunteering things that I've been able to do is we have a program at Telus called Telus Wise, which is Wise Internet Smartphone Education. And that allows us to go into the schools and go into the seniors' homes and speak about internet and internet safety.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't.
So one of the things,
I don't believe there's any other programs that do that.
No, not that I know. Not that I. But there's another one that we've started. I think it's almost 8 years now. Telus has been a part of We Day, which was a large thing for kids.
Yeah.
Right. So Telus has been a prime sponsor of We Day ever since it started. But we've evolved into another program called the Wise program. And what Wise does is it allows for employees like me to get trained and become certified presenters on the content. And then after a records check, we're allowed to go into the schools. And upon the schools reaching out for, they basically any school can get a free presentation. And we'll come in kindergarten all the way through to grade 12, university, all the way to seniors' homes. And what we do is we have a bunch of different presentations. It's kind of the same wine in different bottles, but it's all about trying to help with everything from social media, I want to say online bullying, all the way through to seniors, and trying to help seniors with things that I'm just going to pull out of the way here before this little guy tries to hit my truck. But yeah, so what I do, I think at least a couple of times a month, is I'm able to take a booking from one of the schools, and they reach out through we have a dispatch person, and let's say even one of your the Metro Toronto schools will call and say, we have a grade 6 class, we're learning about online social media, and we'd really like to have one of your presenters come. And so they'll put a call out to us all, and we look at the schedule, and if we're able to fit it into our work day, say it's during an assembly at 9 in the morning, then we'll come out and do a presentation.
I got
sorry, go ahead.
Is that a program that runs all across Canada?
It does, and to date, I believe that we've done close to $1.5 million. Like, people have been engaged. So if I had 100 people in an auditorium, we would say that 100 people have seen the presentation or a presentation. So we've done it now for 5 years. Yeah, there's about 250 ambassadors. We call ourselves Telus Wise ambassadors, and we're in every province. And with the social sort of distancing that's been going on now, we've got a whole online program as well. So a lot of times where we couldn't get to a school up in Yellowknife, we would organize a Zoom chat and basically do it live with the kids, either on a big screen or with their devices. But that more than ever has become the way we're doing it now, as far as until we're able to get back to schools.
Is this a program that is still running? So if, let's say, there was private schools or public schools that don't know about you, could they reach out to Telus now, or because of or because of what's going on, they're saying we're on hold? Like, I just don't know.
No, we're not on hold at all. So it's just telus.com/wise, WISE. And then there's a button that book a session, and they'll book you. In this case, our bookings are online, but all of us are still available to give the presentation, I want to say, over the device.
I think that, and afterwards, when I post this, I'm going to write down that link, because if you ask me,
yes,
everybody's socially engaged right now. And everybody, now I'm fortunate, my kids are 21, so I'm not, whatever my kids do, they're 21. But if my kids although you and I both kind of creep them on Instagram and say, really, did you have to post that? Yeah. Right? We're still parenting. Even still, but if I had 7-year-olds at home and they're forced to go already on the computer to do school, I would be afraid of how to click buttons. Like, I wouldn't know. So I think it's great. So I really think that's important. And I know we've interviewed some schools actually that are looking for resources. So that's great. Really didn't know about that.
Well, the world kind of continues to change. And when you and I were parenting our kids, we were the bad parents if we let our kids watch 2 Disney movies back to back.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was, oh my God, you put your kid in front of the TV for 2 hours. And these days, look, I'll just pan around my car here so you can see all the devices. There's this device, that device, this device. But these days, the average high school student, if you can imagine, is on their device for close to 7 to 9 hours a day. Yeah, so it used to be 2 hours was a big deal, letting your kids watch, you and I grew up with VCR tapes, but now with Disney Channel, I don't know how it's going to go. But as with we're seeing a lot of social distancing and the fact that kids are out of school, but we're not seeing as many of them outside in their yards, which is unfortunate.
So sad, because you still can be outside in your yards. And I'm looking outside and everybody says BC, it's always raining. It looks like it's a beautiful day there.
Yes. Look, here's the sunshine. Right? It's looking good.
I got to tell you, Ontario, we have, I think, more rain and clouded days than you guys do, personally. We're like...
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah.
But don't tell anyone. It rains all the time here. Shh.
Oh, okay.
Don't tell anyone.
Okay. All right. So now what happens
when
you go out? to go fix this? Do you
Well,
have to get garmed up and wear special protective? Or
I have a yes. We're going to go in and take a look at the care home, and as the patient wasn't expected until later, we could still go in, and then we're going to have to shut the whole facility down. But I still have techs doing wrap up here, and then I put a call through to a lineman that will probably be able to come and help us do this repair. I can do it myself too, but it'll be tricky to do that with you. But we'll definitely do a quick look and see where the fiber. I think I kept a little piece here. Yeah, so let me see if you can. We can get that on the camera.
oh,
There
that's
we go.
what a
Let's
fiber
get that.
cable looks like. Huh? Huh.
Yes. So it is.
It looks like fibers.
Well, this little yarn here is
Looks
Kevlar.
like the fibers.
And well, this little guy at the very end there, you can just see this little clear piece of fiber right there.
Yeah.
So
that's
it is about, yeah, it's the thickness of our hair, but they actually take the fiber and dip it in a clear acrylic to make it stronger and allow it to bend and not have the glass break. But 90% of our telecommunication infrastructure today across the planet is run off of this little guy here. When it was the old days with copper, which was not in the recent past, we would need, I want to say, 1 million pieces of copper for each fiber to try to emulate the same amount of data transfer. Yeah.
Wow.
So these days, everything that we do is done through this little guy, and this little guy has his own nuances in terms of he's very delicate, but it's an amazing, we call that the information highway. That's it right there. And in fact, fiber has been running from Toronto to Vancouver since almost the late 70s. It was the norm for high bandwidth transfers. We just have now seen it make it, as in Toronto with Bell, Rogers, and Telus, it goes to every house now.
Yeah, we actually just got, I think they started the digging, I think, 1.5 years ago in our community. So we just finalized, I think, and I think some of my areas are still digging and replacing it to fiber now. So
yes, we call that the circus. And when the circus comes to town, they'll knock on your door and say, Pam, we've got this great thing. It's really fast. And then you can watch even more Netflix, like you're not watching too much already.
What they say to me is, there's going to be a lot of trucks on your street. I hope you don't mind that we're parking right here. And I say, as long as it's not on my garbage day for them to take my garbage, I don't really care where you park, you know.
Right, and then keep those big trucks off the front of my grass there. Put out some cones, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The city's grass, that front part. No. It's the city's grass.
They got it.
part,
Good.
so I don't care. They want to mess up the city's grass, that's their problem.
You know it. Well, I brought you a couple of token Telus-wise things to show you. As a lead ambassador for British Columbia, I'm involved in I'm sort of the captain of the Pink Shirt Day. So this was our pink shirt here. I just stole it out of the laundry.
I just love the hands. I love that. I love that they're multicultural and they're holding each other.
Yes.
That is beautiful.
I've got now, for you and your viewers, I have a couple of buttons. I had to have prizes because you have to have bling. So I've got 10 of these that I'm sending to you, and these are your End Bullying Day buttons.
Wow.
And we will definitely let you decide where those go, or to some of your special captains that deserve it, all your craft captains.
We have a few that I already know. As a matter of fact, some of our university students have already plugged on and off. They run my clubs all across Canada, the different universities, and they're the ones that probably would appreciate it.
Yes. Well, we'll get you those. And so Pink Shirt Day has come and gone. And now we sort of ramp up. It definitely, our WISE program is underway. But our two big highlights of the year, one is our End Bullying Day, which is in the spring. And then in the fall, October 10th, we do World Mental Health Day.
Yeah.
And I sit on the board of the Amanda Todd Legacy Society. And as some of you may have known, Carol Todd lost her daughter to online bullying. So Amanda Todd was the daughter, and Carol's a really good friend of mine. And Carol and I have been doing a lot of Telus-wise events together. She's also a Telus ambassador.
Is there a hospital, Manitou? a mental health facility called something Manitou in BC?
No, it's I'm saying it too quickly. Amanda Todd.
Oh, okay. Because we work very closely with some hospitals
Yes,
in the mental health.
Manitou.
Yes.
Yeah, Manitou is Watrous.
Oh,
That's what you're thinking of. You're flashing back, right? Watrous,
but
Saskatchewan.
there is some BC hospitals that we do that
Yes,
specific for mental health that we ship to all the time. So just so you know,
right.
Yeah.
Well, so we're already as a captain of that in the fall, we're already ordering up a couple of thousand purple shirts,
Yeah.
and we'll have
Perfect.
we'll have that same logo on there. So
Love
we'll
it.
make sure that you get your purple shirt, and anybody
Well,
your captains, you let me know, and we'll get them all dialed in.
We'll all wear them with pride. I mean, really, mental health couldn't be higher right now. I mean, everybody's self-esteem really, there's a lot in the mental health world. And yeah.
Well, tell us, so that's how it all kind of dovetails together, because being that we're the ones that are creating the information superhighway, you kind of have to own the outcome, which is the fact that a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of adults are going into this new environment, and albeit our children are native to it, everybody that's older is a little bit not so aware of what to do and how to manage it. So when it comes to seniors, or when it comes to young children, we as a company decided, look, we have to help coach our community in how to manage the online experience and do it safely.
Well, I agree.
I
mean, you couldn't get me. Don't even get me started. I think adults.
You're in the choir.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to preach to me. I mean, we could go on Facebook now and look at how many negative comments or how many people are panning comments or negative. And these are adults. So, the kids are learning from the adults. Well, if my mom or my dad can write, don't shop here anymore because I didn't get my grocery order right. Well, you know what? We're in extenuating times. You don't need to say the negative. Just don't say. I mean, we grew up with, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Those days are long gone.
Right. Well, and from your, even, I mean, your youngest would have had a smartphone sometime early in high school. These days, we're seeing parents giving their children smartphone as early as grade 2, just because it's kind of like a pacifier. But that puts them in a lot of harm's way. When a child, and Facebook has now introduced a junior thing. It used to be you had to have a certain age.
Yeah.
So between Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, I mean, Facebook's for old people like you and me now, but at least that's what my kids tell me.
That's what my kids tell me.
So we, our job is to help people, no matter what age they are, navigate their experience safely. When it comes to seniors, you'd be amazed at how much online fraud is going on with seniors. It's just like trying to take candy from a baby, because the senior is such an honest person. They grew up in the 20s and the 30s, and they're just not used to wholesale savagery where these people are emailing them, calling them, kind of taking over their screen.
Yeah.
And then the worst is getting them on a chat, because they're desperate to communicate with their families. So they're learning to go online. But what's happening is they're being lured into chats that are not the people that are. It's just like they're being catfished when you're worrying about your sons and daughters being catfished. The seniors are being catfished and then getting bilked for their money, like a wid. Yeah. So we do those discussions a lot with the seniors, and like we do with the young kids and the really young ones and the really older ones, we really have to take good care of. And the ones in the middle, like our kids, our goal is to remind them that it's a brand called you. So if you're going to not think before you post, then it could be really hard for you to find a job when the employer doesn't even need a resume. They can just look at your social media platform and then decide, right, is this the kind of person that we want to represent our company? Someone that just posted a picture of them jumping off a roof into a pool.
I'm glad you said that, because I go in and I work with high schools and university students as my volunteers. And it's the exact word I say to them. I said, you want the privilege. I mean, yes, you got to get police checked and all of that, but you want the privilege to volunteer in hospitals with kids, I'm going to be stalking nicely your
have
fees.
to. Yes.
And if I see something
Right.
illegal or inappropriate, you can't
You're out.
volunteer in the hospital. You're out. It doesn't work like that. You're
Yes.
representing my charity the second you sign up. And so to me, I'm so impressed that you said it too, because they all say, oh, you overreact. No, makes me happy now. Good. You said it too.
It happens. I wish it didn't happen so much. You know, so many things that we could share. We'll have to do it over another call and another day. But
I'm gonna have to bring you back. You're just like
yes.
We like totally connect and say, you know what it is? It's because we grew up in Saskatoon. Like, we can talk.
We're prairie kids.
Yeah.
We're on the same page, right?
And we also know how to communicate.
Yes. We were out in the backyard a lot.
Like I've done some interviews, not that I'm going to say anything, but I have done some interviews where I'm like going, so, okay.
Yeah. Next question.
Next question, right? Like,
exactly.
Oh, somebody loves
you. All right.
You.
So
who loves you? Nifty?
Oh, do I get a love?
You got to love. Nifty.
All right.
Knick-knack.
All right. We like Nifty. I hope Nifty is going to enjoy the next part now, because we only have another 20 minutes left.
That's right. So let's show this.
All right. So I'm just going to push over here to the PPE department, because before we go in, we've got to do the usual PPE setup. So this is what it looks like when you're a mobile PPE person like me. So the first thing is you got to, I've already washed my hands, but you just make sure, just to be sure, in case your glove tears, that you got no COVID on your hands. And then you have your, I'm not sure if you can see it all, but you have your selection. Do you have your cheapy dollar store gloves just because you're going in to buy something from Safeway? Or do you have your rubbery ones to work in? Or do you have your serious hardcore 8mm protector ones? So because we're going to be playing in the dirt, we're going to put the big gloves on here underneath just to be safe. And then it'll probably be a little bit harder for me to get the tapping going, but we'll figure it out. All right. Now, normally we'll double glove. So I'll just put the thinner one over top.
Double glove, wow.
Yeah, because if something goes sideways and it gets a little bit compromised, or you get something on it, especially when we're working with fiber, you need to be able to peel it off after you're done.
Okay.
And then when you're trying to come back to the vehicle, somewhere buried in this pile of rubble is an ultraviolet light that I put inside my truck every night to try to I'll pull it out after, to try to manage any of the stuff that may have made it into the vehicle on my clothes or whatnot.
Wow.
So we'll start with our gloves, and we'll get those on here. And then we get to pick what type of mask we're going to wear. So you got your Safeway dollar store. This is an N95, but it's kind of the I want to say the quick and dirty version.
Yeah.
And then we've got the more serious N95 that I put inside of its own little Tupperware, so I can get about 2 weeks usage out of one of these. And before you put it away, we give it a little spray with the alcohol, which I won't spray on right now, but there's the alcohol spray. So this is the one I'll be wearing today, because you will hopefully be able to hear me through it. And then I'll just put this right here for a second. And then if we're actually going into a live setting with real seniors, then you got to go all out. And then we go for the full respirator.
Wow. Does Telus provide you all of these?
Yes, Telus has a bunch of this for different, a lot of this stuff has been fit tested for me personally over the years.
Okay.
But all my techs are able to get this. We've even got the fancy face shields, it was really hard to get. But yes, for the most part, we're not going into the home right now. So our technicians are bringing the devices to your garage and trying to do as much as they can outside. So it's deemed that internet service in the house isn't as critical at this point in time so that we're not letting our techs go right into the house and put them at risk.
Right.
But for those of us that are kind of in management and whatnot, we have to be able to go a little bit further depending on what we're dealing with, right? And then I've got some specialized business technicians, and they're definitely fully lit, and we've got to sometimes just go in. If we've got a failure in a hospital or in a care center, we've got to be able to fix it. So like we have, let's see, we've got our full sort of, I want to call it the big white gown that covers the whole body. So I've got a stock of, depending on, it's like having a bunch of different Superman costumes, depending on what you're going into. So, so today we're going to just go with the regular mask, this, and then we're going to need some type of eye protection. Again, if you're going to do PPE for COVID, you really have to have, you got to have all three things. You can't not have the glasses, and like you got to have gloves, mask, and goggles, as you've seen on TV with all the nurses and whatnot. Yeah. But so we gear up like that, and then before I throw the mask on, while we're still over here, I'm gonna just reach behind me here and get my safety vest, because we're kind of going between a live construction site, which requires your hard hat and your vest and your steel-toed boots. So we're just gonna reach back and get all of that and put that on for you. Just a sec here.
Nifty Knack, I agree with everything Nifty Knack has been saying. He thinks what you're doing is awesome, and it also gives the people that you're seeing also a sense of security that you take care of. Like you do it.
Oh, for sure. You can't just come marching into random environments. For these care homes, I've been coming to this one since 2016. It's a long build cycle for us. So we come when it's just dirt, and then we're there throughout the build cycle to help them with the engineering, to make sure the underground conduits go in, to make sure the whole infrastructure gets in place. So you develop a relationship where this guy, Rod, has probably seen me 30 times over the last, say, 2 years. And that's why he just, come on, Donnelly, I need you to help me fix, like we know each other. In any case, this is our standard sort of, it's like our little Batman outfit here. Cool. So I've got my own spray in here, different devices, a fiber cutting tool, a measurement tool, different types of things that allow me to get into the building. A set of keys that will open up all the different locked doors in the city. That'll get me into the different telecommunication places.
I just think that's a cool key to have. I'm just saying.
Those are good keys. They get you. They only get you. They get you into phone rooms, but that's about it. So
now you're no fun. I just thought that.
You know what? Yeah. So I'm gonna I'll schlep this stuff on here, and in the last 10 minutes, hopefully, I won't lose you. Thanks to Telus, I've got my Wi-Fi on the go, which is hiding in this little device here. Got a lot of telecommunication here. So this little guy here is basically like a cell phone. It's a Starbucks hotspot, but in your hand.
Oh, cool.
So
right. Yeah, I
we've got Wi-Fi from the phone, but this one has a little more
juice.
I want to say it has a little more juice, so I slip that in my pocket, and hopefully that'll keep our feed going. We're in right now we're in the border between New Westminster, BC, and Richmond, BC. Okay. And this has become a new little hotspot for senior living. So I've got about 6 care homes just within about a 500-meter radius here, all being built. But the first one is ready, and we're just going to walk across, take a look at that. And as long as Wi-Fi permits, we'll go in and maybe get a look at some of the infrastructure that we just installed in the last 4 weeks. Okay?
Okay. Head out.
All right. Here we go, kids. All right. So let's put the mask on, and we'll turn off the car keys. We're hiding the car keys here, so hopefully none of the internet users will come and steal my truck while we're inside.
No, because anybody that does watch this is kind, and we're about kindness.
All right.
Now, see, I just want to, well, you're getting all masked up here. Look how I just want everybody to realize this is not a nurse, not a doctor, not a front healthcare worker, but yet is in the front healthcare lines working on a seniors home to make sure seniors have a safe place in BC, and still has to get all PPP'd up. So
Exactly.
like really we forget, but you know, these guys are just as important. You know, these guys, this is like an amazing thing. And
This one goes in and out. Like, hopefully you don't think I'm licking it, but it's just the way it goes in and out and in and out.
As a frequent flyer in a hospital, I know about
yes,
N95 masks, and I know that they also can be tough to spend a long time in. Yes.
Okay, well, hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah.
And we are off to the races here, folks. So let's just get this all dialed in here. Okay, so there's a picture of the old work truck. It's the private truck because it's more stealth. We've got the work boots on. Got to make sure you got your steel toes on. You see that? Good.
Safety first.
Okay. So now we're looking at the two. We've got the one that's just coming online right now, and then we've got the one that's coming over here. And crossing the street is a site boss from this one over here. So we're just gonna walk you guys through here. Let's see. There we go. See if you can see it.
This is amazing. You know?
We'll talk to
we totally
Rod on the way by. Are you seeing it okay?
Oh, we're seeing it great. I just can't get over that people, you know, we forget about guys like you. Like, this has been amazing to see that the reality is here you're going to make a home for the seniors that are not affected by COVID, so they can move them out. Like in the next week.
So we had to get our fiber. We had to get our fiber from this side of the road to that side of the road. So what happens here is it comes along, and I'm not sure if you can see these poles here.
Yeah.
But then it drops down into a pipe here and then crosses under the street here. I'm not sure if you can still hear me.
No, we can't. We're good.
So, okay, great. So it's all about trying to get the infrastructure into where you need it, and sometimes that's done years in advance. So in here,
wow,
this vault was here about 2 years ago, and they're using it to put all this garbage on here now. Let's see if we can just slide this off. Okay, there we go. Oh. So to do our repair today, so as you can see, we've got our finished building and our building over here that's not ready yet. This one that's not ready yet, they haven't finished the pipes down this main street. So we had to do a temporary line that basically just comes right out of the box here. So if we open this guy up, there, can you see inside this big box?
Oh, that's
so down in here.
Oh wow.
We have our this is the underground conduit network that connects all of the buildings on the street on this new side of the street.
That's very
cool. But down that side, they haven't finished the network. So we ran this wire here, basically just up and out, and we ran it all the way over to this guy's building so that those guys could have critical security, elevator, and fire while they build their building. But the landscaper has broken that box right over here. Can you see this little box right here?
Yeah, we understand when landscapers break wires.
Yep. So here we go. So they ripped. So here's our fibers right here. I'll just fold them right here. So here's our fibers right here, torn apart, and they should have been. This is the second repair. So this little box is here because they did this a week ago. So this line comes through here. So we've got to get this open, got to get that fiber reconnected. And then these two buildings here will be able to keep their things, keep themselves running. So this is...
you know what? I just got
Are
to
you
say,
doing
it
okay?
amazes me, Dean. Yeah, Dean, can I ask you a question? You're a management, right?
Yes.
So I just want to point out, Dean is a manager, and he's in management. He's high up, but he's not doing anything that he wouldn't expect his employees to do, right?
No, we're
Right?
like, if I do it
You're a
myself,
team.
I do it with my guys. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
That's,
this,
yeah.
this thing here was the real difficult mission, this building right here. And so I stayed here with them for the last 3 weeks. I took all my calls and stood here with them, because you can't ask them to work overtime if you're not prepared to dig deep yourself, especially when it's out of the blue, you know? So
So beautiful.
anyways, here comes our site soup right here, marching unhappily because his internet's not working. But we'll fix him
Yeah,
in a
but,
minute, okay?
and you can tell him yours
All right.
is,
So
because you're with Telus.
this is yes, we'll get her fixed. This is you walking live. Can you see this into the Hamilton
Yeah.
Village Care Center?
Yeah.
And
That's the one that's
this
going to
is
be going
the
up
building
in a week,
here.
right?
What's that?
That's the one
Sorry,
that's
Pam.
going to be up in the next. That's
Yes,
the one
this
that's going
one
to be
goes
up in the
live.
next 5 days.
It goes live today.
Oh, today.
So today,
Okay.
today, patient one
Today.
comes today at noon. Yeah, so
Wow.
it's been a real rush.
Yeah.
Yes, this one over here is July, and this one
Okay.
over here is 12 noon. Yeah.
Okay.
So as we come up to the sign here, you can see that there's no more trades allowed in the building now. So it says here, no more trades.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So this is why I got my hands dirty. So right now, I just come over here, and we've got a special a COVID sign-in sheet.
Wow.
And so what I'm going to do is just take off that first set of gloves, the dirty set now, because we were messing in the dirt. And then I'm just going to show you guys how this works. So then we've got to do our sign-in here. So Dean Donnelly, chicken scratch. Telus. Let's see if I can make sure you can see my writing.
That's okay. We don't need to see it.
Telus. And we are at about 9:45. Wow. And then have you read the stuff? Do you have COVID? Have you been visiting? No. And my initials. And then, okay, so we are just going to go into the care center, and then there's a lot of metal in the wall. So let me know. Call my name if I lose you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. Now, here's one of the superstars of the show right here. This is Winnie.
Hi.
Hi, Winnie.
Winnie.
You're live.
Winnie, you're live on Instagram.
Oh, joy.
And then what's happened is that tonight it goes on Facebook all over again.
Yes. Now Winnie's not with Telus.
Okay, but we still love
she's the company that's doing all of the I want to say all the nurse on call stuff that's inside the building.
Mm-hmm.
And so our I'll just let this guy go by. All of our Telus stuff is all over the place, but it's all these little devices here are basically powering up all of the TVs and the Wi-Fi's in the building. And this big guy here is the main fiber distribution center right here. So let's go into the building and take a look around.
Wow.
So here we've got I got a nurse's station, and as we walk in, they have three distinct wings in the building, and we'll just go down here and see what a random room looks like.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because I think I'm just so blown away on how quickly they managed to get this up and running, and it's going to be for patients that don't have COVID. So it should be awesome. Oh, we're losing you. It's okay. He'll eventually come back. But just so you know, this has been very amazing. And, you know, this is so good that we're going to have to bring him back. If I
You've got your regular kind of hospital style bed. And then over here, if you're in the bed, you've got, as you see, like your standard hospital setup. And for what we did is we made sure that all the Telus equipment is on the wall, ready for the televisions when they arrive.
So beautiful. So awesome.
Yeah. So for us, being connected is a very important emotional thing. If you're here with a patient and you see the look on their face when they're watching TV or something and they're getting a moment of happiness, you know that you've done your part to try to make that happen. If it's a critical situation and they're holding an iPad for the last time, well, that's kind of an over-the-top scenario that we wouldn't have planned, but it's more important than ever, Yeah.
Well,
so look,
I'm gonna hate to cut. I hate having to cut you off because I'm enjoying this so much. But I'm gonna have
no
to
problem.
end because what happens is the Instagram gods end us. That's why I have a time.
Okay.
So
we did it.
But you know what, Dean? We did it, and I just want to say, if you're right there, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Telus because really, can you hear me thanking you? Are you still?
I got you. I got you 5 by 5. I'm just getting you outside again.
Okay. We really want to thank you, and we want to thank Telus, and we want to thank your team for doing all the good and keeping everybody connected. Because without people like you, I know so many people would. You're making COVID a little easier for so many. That's
our goal.
Yeah. And
you too.
Yeah. Well, no, I just.
Hey, listen.
Alrighty.
And I'm your newest I'm your new craft guy. So when this is all done, I'm on it. Okay.
Well, you've got a little more important work to do right now. So you take care of this first, and then we'll worry about that afterwards. Maybe we'll do something together for your mental health campaign. That will work with.
Okay. All right. You be well.
Thank you.
Be safe.
Be safe. You too. Alrighty. Take care.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
All right.
Remove Dean Donnelly. Alrighty. I have about 3 minutes left before the Instagram gods. Yeah, really, Ucha. It was unbelievable. Normally, and I didn't ask him what he does to wash his hands because he washes his hands so much. You see, he's going to go back and he's got a spray and UV, everything. It's like unreal what he's doing. Just need to say thank you again to Dean Donnelly and to Telus for allowing us in to their world. Like huge. We'll need to send out the whys. Gonna ask maybe afterwards. I'll send them an email and find out. Yeah, I know their whys program. I'm hoping that people can do it even aren't part of communities. We'll find out so that seniors sitting at home want to learn more about the internet and how to be safe on it to not get attacked. I gather it's going up right now very high. So please check out the Telus Whys. We'll upload their link later. Again, thank you, Dean Donnelly from Telus. Tomorrow, we are so excited. Ucha, if you're still on, I have your cousin coming on to perform. Tomorrow, we start earlier at 10:30 because we have a performance coming all the way from India. An amazing 16-year-old singer. Please do not miss it. Followed by some ballerinas. So what an arts day tomorrow will be. Tuesday is my arts day. Then we go on to a whole wrong page. Then we've got an interview with, really? OMG, cool. Yes. So we're starting at 10:30. Pay attention, Ucha. Wednesday, we are interviewing Humber River. How amazing hospital. Thursday, we have a Winnipegger, Larry Vicker, on his philanthropy. And Friday, Crafting for a Cure is doing crafting. Our Western Crafting for a Cure is crafting. Wow, this has been an overwhelming, very insightful, very humbling realization that there is more frontline workers than we even can imagine. Thank you for tuning in. Pamela from Crafting for a Cure. Have an amazing, amazing, marvelous Monday, and I'll see you on our Talent Tuesday tomorrow. Bye now.